Welcome, everyone. My name is Madeline No, and we'd like to welcome you to another NetHope Solution Center webinar. Today, our topic is Lessons Learned from Building Chatbots in Africa. And we are welcoming two NetHope member organizations to present today, SOS Children's Villages International and Christian Aid. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping guidelines for today's session. Let's keep this interactive. Please open your Zoom chat window and post any questions or comments you have there, and we will collect all of those for our Q&A and discussion session toward the end of the hour. Also look for a follow-up email that will include a link to the recording for this session and any collateral or links to information, and you'll be receiving that either later today or early tomorrow. And also we have a webinar satisfaction poll that will be presented after the webinar session today. Your feedback is very important to us, so we would encourage you to please take a moment to fill that out. And with that, I would like to introduce Layla Toplik, Head of Emerging Technologies Initiative with NetHope, and she will kick off our session today.
Thank you, Madeline, and good morning and good afternoon. Hope everyone is doing well. Madeline, if we go to the next slide. So this webinar is brought to you by NetHope's AI Working Group. This working group is focused on accelerating impactful and responsible development and use of AI and machine learning in the nonprofit sector. Any NetHope member that might be on this call is welcome to join the working group using the link that Seth is sharing in the chat window, and our next monthly meeting is scheduled for July 8th. Next slide, please. Before we get to the topic planned for this webinar, I do want to call your attention to the resources that the working group has developed for the sector. First, our AI Ethics for Nonprofits toolkit that will help you learn how to optimize for fairness and mitigate the risk of bias. And second, our suitability toolkit for nonprofits that provides a framework with 32 questions to help you determine suitability of AI and machine learning for humanitarian and international development programs, and also to plan for sustainability. Next slide, please. Now let's turn to the featured topic for today's webinar, Lessons Learned from Building Chatbots in Africa. I'll first give you some background and context on this program before I turn it over to two NetHope members to share their work and their learnings. So in terms of the background, what you should know is that in summer 2020, so last year, NetHope and Microsoft's Tech for Social Impact team partnered to enable NetHope's Africa chapter, NGOs, to integrate conversational AI into their processes to help address some of the challenges that were exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. And as part of this project, several NGOs came together to develop chatbot solutions, which will enable them to improve the way they provide services and also support to their staff. Next slide, please. So now what we set out to accomplish with this program is four things to keep in mind throughout this presentation. First is to address the needs of the NetHope members in Africa, and Elizabeth and Ahmed will talk more about that. Second is in the context of the project, to support capacity development in AI tools, in ethics and specific methodology, and to do that with a comprehensive enablement model. Next is to benefit the broader membership and also this community by providing reusable templates for the chatbots and sharing of lessons learned. More about that a bit later today. And to develop a reusable partnership model that meets both the needs of the NetHope members, global NGOs, and engages NetHope partners like Microsoft in a relevant and impactful way. Next slide, please. So I'll briefly share three key characteristics of our approach, and Elizabeth and Ahmed will tell you more about their lessons learned from this experience. So first of all, this project was 100% locally owned. What that means is that despite the lack of expertise and knowledge, specifically of Power Virtual Agents, when we started the process last fall, these chatbots that Liz and Ahmed will talk about were developed, they were tested, they were implemented, and they're being maintained by Africa chapter NGOs. And second, the model that we developed included capacity development, including funding for staff time and initial product usage, and technical expertise and project facilitation provided throughout the process by NetHope and Microsoft. And lastly, we used an agile and iterative development approach mainly to make sure that we're learning and incorporating end user feedback throughout the development process. Next slide, please. So as a result, what we have today is 2 chatbots, 2 reusable chatbot templates. We'll share the links for a little bit later in this session. 4 participating NGOs that were trained in chatbot development. And why this is important is that they will be training others over the coming months. 30 plus NGOs that participate in chatbot training that these NGOs have helped us so far with. And this broader community getting access to the chatbot templates that are reusable, that you can adapt for your needs, and the key insights that Liz and Ahmed will share. Next slide, please. Now, Seth will share with you in the chat window the links to the 2 blog posts that can just give you some more details about the projects beyond what you'll hear about today, and also key considerations for building effective partnerships around AI in the sector. Next slide. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you 2 leaders from NetHope's Africa chapter that I've really enjoyed working with over the past 10 months. Elizabeth Njoroge, International ICT Business Partner at Christian Aid, and Ahmed Mihamid, Regional ICT Director at SOS Children's Villages International. So we'll first hear from Ahmed and then from Elizabeth, and 2 of them are also planning to do quick demos during this session. Do keep your questions coming, and we'll leave a bit of time for the Q&A at the end. Over to you, Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Leila, and thank you, Madeline, for the introduction and the presentation. So as Leila have introduced me, my name is Ahmed Mihamid. I work for SOS Children's Villages. I'm making this presentation on behalf of a group of colleagues who have been part of this project together. So our chatbot, we called it Mama Africa. I mean, we wanted, since this chatbot has been fully made in Africa, we wanted to give it a name that reflects us. And then on the other side, we were reflecting like we want this solution to give us answer to everything the same way we would go to our mothers and ask questions for everything, then the bot should help us with that. Next slide, please. So as a first stage is like we were asking ourselves, what is it the problem that we are trying to resolve? So in the beginning, we were reflecting on ourselves as Africa chapter IT staff. Some of us sits in the regional office, others sits in country office, and others sits into program locations. And our idea was how we can provide access to technical training and IT-related knowledge for those ICT co-workers. So that was a starting point of saying, well, we need to resolve this problem. Next slide. Taking a moment and reflecting on what is it going like right nowadays? So nowadays, I mean, the exchange between ourselves as NetHope Africa member is taking place on an informal and in an undocumented way. What does that mean? I mean, like when someone of us have a question about technical things, we hop onto our WhatsApp group, we hop onto our emails, we write individual communications, but there hasn't been kind of a structured process where we keep and we store this various knowledge that we have across our organizations. In reality, for all of us as NetHope Africa members, we are sharing various tools, similar tools. On the other side, we are complaining about the same problems. We talk about MDM, we talk about power, connectivity, infrastructure. So our idea was like, why do we continue to reinvent the wheel? Why do we continue to duplicate our efforts in terms of finding training resources, giving recommendations, sharing expertise among the ICT staff in our organizations? Next slide. So in last year, I mean, in our annual Africa chapter meeting, we were introduced to AI and Microsoft Power Virtual Agent. And basically, it was very exciting for us. I mean, for the Africa chapter group, we felt like, yeah, that's a trend that we need to catch. This is where we need to build knowledge. This is where we need to promote, share experience. And from there, this is where we said, well, bots could be the solution that we're looking for to answer for our problem, because we believe that the chatbots, they are great tools. They can reach large number of people. They are available to the fingertips 24/7. And also in terms of streamlining information gathering and so on, I mean, this is all possible with AI. Next slide. So with that, I mean, this is here where we came to say, well, we need our solution, Mama Africa Bot. So Mama Africa Bot, it's a solution that provides training content, information, best practices among us as NetHope community, as NGOs. It allows us to connect users to expert networks, and then also it allows expert networks to contribute back into the bot, sharing the different experiences and the best practices that they're having in their organization. So on the right side, you see there's a screenshot. I mean, later on, I will take you through the demo of the product. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of the data, actually, we needed for the solution, in the early stage when we were designing our chatbots, it was very clear for us that it's all about having good content and good data inside the bot. So this is here where we were reflecting from where we will get the data, what kind of data solution that we need, what kind of formation of the data. So this is where we said, well, it's going to be a mix of many things. I mean, people will be asking questions. They will read frequently asked questions on a text base. On another time, I mean, they will have links for videos, for audios, podcasts, possibly. And this is where we said, well, these are the kinds of way that we need our data to be in there. We also took time as a project team to reflect how we are going to get the data. And this is where we came to an idea of saying, well, we should crowdsource content from the various members of the chapter. It shouldn't be something that's restricted for one group, but it should be whoever who have something to contribute, let them put it all together into the knowledge library, and then we take it from there. Next slide, please. Now, I'm going to talk to you about kind of the resources and the project management in the background. So for us, I mean, as the team, I mean, we have been very proud that this is our first cross-organization project ever. And that was one of our motivation last year. We said we want to move from talking to each other as NetHope Africa members to doing things together. So we have set up a project team. I mean, as you see on the logos on the left side, I mean, it was various organizations. So we started roles split and role division. So from SOS side, we have taken the role of the project management and the coordination. So we have been the lead organization. We work together also with the colleagues from VSO, Christian Aid, in terms of setting business requirement. And then we have assigned tasks. We said VSO and Christian Aid will work onto the content development, and then SOS will continue doing the bot development. When we finished our MVP products and so on, this is here where we called the rest of the Africa chapter members. So we called what we called the champions. So we have reached out to our colleagues on regional offices, country offices, field offices in this organization. As you see, we talk to people from Save the Children, from HICE, CRS, Winrock, and so on. And we say, please help us into testing our MVPs. Give us the feeling, the areas of improvement, so we could continue developing until we have our final release. On top of that, I mean, we have been closely guided and supported by NetHope and Microsoft on the various issues, the technicalities of the bot framework, the no-code tool, the Microsoft Power Virtual Agent, and then the discussion about the AI ethics overall. Next slide, please. Now, I spoke about the AI ethics. I personally had my experience actually of hearing Layla speaking many times about AI ethics. And to be honest, I mean, the minute that I grasped the importance of the AI ethics was in this project. I mean, as much as it was presented, I could feel it once I flipped the situation, because we were the one who were designing a solution. And then we gave that solution to our test users. And that was very visible for the users. They were like saying, hey guys, we are not comfortable with what's happening on that side. So like the test group, they told us like, your bot, when it starts, it asks us a lot of information. It asks us information about who we are, from which organization, our name, our email addresses, and so on. And they were just like, we're not sure if we want to provide that information that early. And there was kind of the concern about the privacy. What do we do with the privacy on that side? So on our MVP version 2, we have taken that very seriously. So in the very beginning, I mean, we have completely changed the flow of the conversation. So now the user of the bot will be able to just go ahead, open the bot, interacts, and then when she or he would like to contribute content or escalate something to an expert, that would be the moment in which that it would say, could you please provide me further information? And then clearly we tell the users, we need this information so we could connect you with other people and so on. On the other side, one thing that came visible for the test user, they says, well, we should tell the people that they are not speaking to a human agent in the background. They should know that they are dealing with a bot. And this is here where they told us, like, how about trying more or less to give a clear message and clear indicator. What is this bot about and how does it go? So we picked that message and then we worked together in the project team to create an onboarding video. So we created a simple video which basically explain what's the bot about, what is expected, how is the interaction ongoing. So basically when the user is going to use it, then she or he knows what they are approaching and what they are about to start using on that side. Next slide, please. Now the big question, maintaining the solution, the sustainability, what are we going to do about that thing? So together in the project team, I mean, we are setting a launch, an official launch in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we are having our annual NetHope Africa chapter where we are going to make the launch of our bot, where we are going to call for colleagues to support the project. Many people were excited that this bot is fully developed in Africa. So they've asked us actually, like, can we have a training from the Africa chapter member themselves on your experience with the PVA and the bot framework development and so on. So actually we are assigning a dedicated sessions in which that we are going to promote and explain the project, and then also to inspire other member organizations on how they can use bots, how they can do bots project directly on their sites. Now, in terms of the content, as we said, I mean, like, it's all about crowdsourcing content experiences from the participants of the chapter. So what we are going to introduce is a dashboard for the member organization's contribution. So we wanted to make it kind of to gamify the process of data collection. So we've created a dashboard that will say, SOS have contributed X number of topics, VSO have contributed that, Christian 8 have done that, and then through our NetHope Africa channels, we will continue to promote and then encourage the member organization to bring back their contribution into the pot. On the last element, in terms of the financial sustainabilities, we have been looking into different options, and then we have agreed to take a look on that by end of this year. So we had various ideas, is that we continue with corporate partnership. At a certain stage, we thought of maybe we could introduce some annual subscription where basically every member organization in the Africa chapter, they could contribute something that helps us keeping the light on with our bot project on that side. I think with that now I'm up to the demo slide. Yep, okay, so I'll take the screen sharing from here. And you let me know when you can see your screen, my screen, sorry. Yeah. Madeleine or Leila, could you just give me a signal if my screen is appearing?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So this is our bot. I mean, it works on the mobile as for sure. I mean, you imagine, and then also, I mean, it works on the browser. So it starts more or less by one of these triggered phrases on the left side. So I'll just go ahead and I'll say hi, and then the bot starts the interaction with me. So basically I get the introduction. I'm Mama Africa chatbot. I'm here to support the NetHope Africa people to improve on their knowledge and on sharing their experience, and then telling us, like, we have different ways of learning and so on. You see there then a navigation menu that tells us like these other topics that are currently around. So there's cloud services, there's networking, ICT for D, governance, and so on. Then you'll see additional buttons more or less about contributing content. And then you would see also learn how to use the bot, as well as the privacy notes on that side. So the time is limited. I'll just make very few clicks here just to give you that feeling. So I'll just go ahead and I'll choose the cloud services. And then it should tell me what are the different things on cloud services. So for now, these are kind of the first content that we have loaded. So it shows us Intune. It should show other things little by little. So I'll go ahead into the Intune, and then you see different ways of learning. It tells me like I could ask a question, read a frequently asked question, read a case study, and then go to the Microsoft Learn platform where there are different content as well on that side. So I'll just go ahead and I'll say, yeah, I'm reading an FAQ. And then basically it gives me a list of predefined FAQs, like what are the Intune requirements, how much is the Intune license, how can I use Intune, and so on that side. Then basically I get the answer. And what we wanted also to borrow from another experience is basically to continuously ask the users if they're okay, if they're happy, or did this meet their expectations, yes or no. And then we will do kind of a simple way of collecting that feedback on these things. I'll make a click now to where you can contribute. Just that, I mean, like for the rest of the topics, it follows the similar approach. You could also do the typing, the chatting directly on this side. So I'll do the connect to the network, because then in that one here where it tells you like which network you would like to connect. So in the Africa chapter, we've got our WhatsApp group. So basically it could take you to the group who is concerned of cloud services. There would be another group in ICT4D, in governance, and so on, so etc. on that side. And then the last click, which I will show to you, is how you can contribute the content. So when you come to contributing the content, I tell you, thank you very much if you'd like to contribute. One of our learning is we want to give the people the opportunity to go back. So this is why you are asked again to contribute now, because the users, they told us when I click on contribute, I'm not sure where it's taking me. I'm doing this for a test, so I want means to return back. So I'll reaffirm that I would like to contribute. And then here where it tells us, click on this link below for this online form, which basically you will be able to do your contribution. So herein you fill in some short information, date, your name, the organization, which country you are on, and then you select a thematic area which you would like to contribute to. So for now, I mean, you could just choose ICT4D, and then here simply tells you, give me the topic on ICT4D. So I could come in and say, it's about ICT4D design, it's about ICT for agriculture. I give the title of my contribution, and then I contribute and I click submit. In the background, then the content expert group will take a look on that contribution, kind of validate the information and say, yes, this is useful, this is correct, no misleading information, everything is in order. Then this will be taken and injected back into the knowledge base of the system on that side. I think with that, I've reached more or less the end from my slides. And I think I'm giving Leila and Madeleine some 3 minutes back for the presentation. Let me hand over back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. And now over to Liz. And do keep the questions coming. There's some excellent questions in the chat window. Liz.
Thank you so much, Leila, and thank you so much, Ahmed, for the elaborate presentation on your Mama Africa chatbot. I'm Elizabeth Njoroge, working with Christian Aid, as mentioned, as the International ICT Business Partner. And I'm the person who is developing the technical support chatbot within Christian Aid and working with our team within Christian Aid. So just a snippet of what the chatbot is all about. Next slide, please. So at the NetHope Africa conference last year, as Leila mentioned, is where this was launched, and there was a challenge. And as Christian Aid, we had already started looking for a solution that is going to automate and support us to be able to access technical support for our geographically distributed staff with a reduced workforce. We just come from a restructure, so we were looking for all ways, and we had removed a layer of support that was used to our users before, having regional managers distributed in the various regions. And this point now, it meant that we had to have a global support model, and this required people transitioning to logging a ticket within the system. Then how then were we going to ensure that we are able to provide that kind of support? So it was easy for us to be able to put in together our business case, and that's why we are here today. And part of the other thing that we really wanted to do was automate some of our business processes. And I think one that I'll cover in the process is this chatbot is integrated with our ticketing system. So you just go in and ask the bot a question. The bot should be able to provide you with a solution. If not, it should be able to create a Jira ticket for you. Next slide, please. So how is the problem being addressed today? So we have kind of mixed places where we are having, for instance, our knowledge base. and various channels where people are able to log in tickets. So we have email support, we have a portal where people can be able to log in their tickets. Of course, sometimes we still get some of our users reaching out through our WhatsApp, which means that we do not have a coordinated way of having all our tickets logged, and we are not able to analyze that. The other one that we have is on our manual laptop request. I think what I have given there is on one of our Microsoft form that our users do fill in, and then they have to go into the Jira system, attach that filled form, and then a ticket is created, and then the IT team will be able to follow up from there. I've also included something there, type a message in French. Language barrier is one of the things that we hope the chatbot will be able to offset as we continue evolving into the phase 2. At the moment, the bot is available in English, so we hope we shall be able to have it available in our 2 other languages, that is French and Spanish, in our second phase of the program. Of course, Christian Aid works in 20 hours. So how then do we ensure that we have support across the globe? Right now, we have distributed a few of our staff members to cover the time zones, but we believe the chatbot being available 24/7, then it will be able to have, or rather solve the problem as we go on. Next slide, please. Why is AI better than the current solution? I think, as I have said, the Jira integration with our chatbot and with our Confluence, where we have our knowledge base, that means users can adopt a self-service way of resolving their ticket, and which means we are targeting to have 40% of our tickets being resolved through the bots, and this will leave our team being able to work best, or rather use the rest of their time in developing automating other processes within the organization. Right now, we are speaking about the laptop request. The next one we could be thinking is, how do we bring in the distribution groups access within the board? So we will have more time for our team to be able to do that. And of course, there's analytics within the chatbot that will enable us to continuously improve the process, which means then we are able to support our time, our staff in real time, and also develop and continuously increase the use of the chatbot as we go on. Next slide, please. The solution that we have in the chatbot is a self-service technical support that basically, when somebody comes into the chatbot and just type in, "Hi, I cannot print," it should be able to chat back with you and offer you a solution which is managed within our knowledge base that is hosted both in Confluence and right now trying to look at Q&A maker. But also, if you don't get the answer from the bot will be able to create a ticket for you. The other thing that is able to do at the moment is the laptop request, where you just if you just say, "I want to request for a laptop," is it a replacement of a laptop? Is it a new laptop? Then it takes you through the process of how you can be able to do that. It sends an email notification to your line manager that is integrated using the Azure. It's able to pick the line manager from the system, but also once the approval is done, a ticket is created and the approval details are embedded in the ticket so that the IT department can move on into the process of purchasing, or rather of the procurement of the IT equipment. Next slide, please. Part of the data that we have needed for this solution, one, we realized that most of our support team, me included, I have had a folder where I have some of these support how-to documents that I have. So we have this information distributed in the various places. So we have some sitting in SharePoint, some are sitting in Confluence, but we hope that using this chatbot, then we can have one source of truth where we have our information and our knowledge base stored for all the applications, because at the moment we have our IT team having Confluence, but the rest of the of the organization, where we have our business applications, for instance, our finance system, our program management system, all that is sitting within SharePoint. How then are we able to ensure that we have this into the bot? Next slide, please. The resources that we need to support the development and implementation, and of course the maintenance of this solution. One of them, part of that being internally, we have of course had to rely on our technical team, our infrastructure team, who are managing our Microsoft estate. We have the apps and dev team who have come in handy as we did the development of this chatbot. Yes, it's a no-code tool, but I think at some point you have had to call in some of them to be able to help us in tweaking a few things here and there. Then we have the service delivery team, who will be the main user of the system, plus also our staff within the organization that have been helping us in testing. The testing has been going on well, and we've received quite a number of feedback from our team that we have incorporated so far. The other non-technical team is the communication team that has been reviewing our chat script. Are we using the right language? Are we using the right tone so that our users are able to interact with the chatbot correctly? Then, of course, the technical guidance from Microsoft, facilitation and the strategy part of it. And of course, the ethics, which I think has been a very key point here, that we have had to learn how to develop this bot with ethics into it. And then the other one, because we've been developing these two chatbots at the same time, that is the Mama Africa chatbot and the technical support chatbot. Of course, we have had to leverage on the technical capacity of both myself and Mazin, who has been doing the Mama Africa chatbot. So those are the kind of partnerships that we've been doing, and hoping that we can be able to continuously work together so that we can adopt these bots as we go on. Next slide. As we developed the bot, I think one of the things that we realize is we have to ensure that the bot includes everyone. So part of the development, all the way from the bot persona, the script, the content, the implementation of it has to be fair and inclusive of all the people that we are working in. For instance, one of the things that I had not thought about, because we are working in the various places and some of the places have limited connectivity, which may affect the bot in the bot performance in that case. So how then do we ensure that these people are onboarded? So we've been providing this kind of test and hoping that the content is light enough so that even as it loads on the user side, then they are able to. Then the other thing is on the digital literacy. We had to create the various personas of our bot users. Of course, we have the tech people, we have the non-tech, who are, some are tech savvy and some are not tech savvy, but all of them will be required to use the bot. So those are the kind of the considerations that we have had to make, and hopefully as we've been developing in the content, one of the things that we are thinking to probably put out so that we can be inclusive is remove maybe the screenshots that we've been having in some of the knowledge base, so that our users who have limited connectivity can have access to the bot easily. Next slide, please. To maintain this solution, we will rely on what our users are going to provide us feedback, as the tool also has the analytics. Content is key. Content content is supreme in the chatbot, as you have heard also Ahmed saying and calling all of us, especially from the NetHope Africa chapter, then we need to ensure that we share the content. So we are doing this also, and this will also go in a long way in ensuring that our bot within Christian Aid is usable, or rather is adopted within the organization. One of the other things that we may need to ensure that we have is make it mandatory for some of the processes to use the bot, so that people can continuously keep on using the bot, so that by the time we are moving to the next phase, we already have a couple of people who have gotten used to the bot. And of course, the use of digital champions within Christian Aid, who are the people who are they are tech savvy and they are eager to learn and use the tools. Some of those are the ones we have engaged during our MVP testing, and they've really been useful. And we hope they're the same ones that we can be able to use in maintaining and adoption of the system. Partnerships notwithstanding, the NetHope partnership, I think that's a key point for us to be able to continuously use this. We already have the toolkit that they've already provided. They provided the guidance, and we hope that even as we go on, it's a partnership that will continue working together. NetHope member organizations, that's the other one we hope that we can leverage. I believe most of you will be looking forward to adopt some of these, or rather this chatbot in your organization. So we hope we can continuously work together and improve. Other functions within Christian Aid UK, that's another key thing, because as we presented this initially, yes, it is an IT solution at the moment, but there is interest from the other functions within programs that hopes can be able to work with this. So for us to be able to have the chatbot going, that means we'll have to continuously work together internally. And of course, Microsoft, who have supported us in ensuring that we have this grant, and we hope that from the technical capacity Michael has been offering, and the Microsoft TSI Africa has also come in handy. They are closer home now, and we can easily access them so that they can be able to support the maintenance and maybe future development of the chatbot. Next slide. All right, it's time to showcase my demo. My chatbot. The chatbot for Christian Aid, or rather the technical support chatbot, is running on Microsoft Teams. Let me share screen. At the moment, is running on Microsoft Teams, and we believe we should be able to have that running on other channels, which we shall embed this in SharePoint. We shall also have it as a mobile tool. I know from the Microsoft Power Virtual Agent, WhatsApp is in the pipeline, and one of the hope is that we can also be able to have that in WhatsApp as we go on. So I'll begin. As I said, if you just come into the chatbot, I want to believe that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Did that answer your question? Let me see, just yes. The presentation of the bot within Microsoft Teams does not look so well, but I think as we go on, we shall improve how it appears. It doesn't appear as good as on the web, but I think we shall be able to do that. So I just told the bot, I rated that. Thank you for your feedback. Can I help you with anything else? I want to say yes. Let me say no so that we can begin. So thank you for chatting with me. Bye. So you can just start by just saying hi to the bot, and it's going to present to you what exactly it's able to provide and what it is able to provide right now. My second screen refused to work today. So how can I help you how can I help you? So one of the things, as I've mentioned, is on the technical support. We also have equipment requests, and then we have general IT inquiries. So you can either click there or just type in. And then the other one that we are adding as we go on is on the system training. So I will start the equipment requests because I know I'm short of time. The equipment request has both the creation of the ticket. So allow me to use that as a test right now. So if I click on the equipment request, so what we have done is automated our Microsoft form that I had on the deck. Thank you, Elizabeth, for contacting support. Please provide the correct details for your laptop request. Of course, there will either be new laptop replacement or is it a loan laptop. So I will say new laptop. And it provides you pick a laptop depending on your day-to-day work. So for instance, a finance staff require a high-spec laptop. That is what from our understanding, or rather from our experience. So you would pick which laptop is, but also budget also comes into play here. So at this point, one of the feedback that we received as we did this was we were requesting the staff to also input the budget codes at this point. But we received the feedback was, why not the line manager input that kind of information into the request? So we translated that. So the match the user is able to do is just select the specific laptop. What accessories do you need? I would say maybe I need a mouse and keyboard. Then it will ask me to confirm whether this information is correct. The other information that we were asking the user to input was on the office location. We can be able to pick this information from our Azure. So that is happening in the background using the Power Automate flow. So I'll say this information is correct. Once I click yes, the bot will automatically create a ticket in Jira, send an email approval request to my line manager, and it is configured that it is able to pick my line manager from the system at the moment. So that is what is happening. If I clicked here, I think it's going to open the link with the details of the laptop. I wish I had my line manager here to be able to approve, but I think I will show you something on the approval. All right, so this information, as you see it here, you order this through the Power Automate flow. So you can be able to describe and say what exactly you would like to have in that message within the form. So let me go back to my bot. I want to test if this information is not correct. Did that answer your question? Of course, you would say yes if this did answer your question. If no, then you should be able to provide you with a way to create a ticket. So let me rate this. Let me give this a 3. And it is this rating that we shall rely on to improve the bot. So thank you for your feedback. Can I help you with something else? So if you say no, thanks, it will close. Let me say yes, just to showcase the other part of the ticket creation. So let me say I cannot access intranet. And I see my time is up. So to clarify, did you mean how to access the intranet? So I would say maybe this is what I want, how to access the intranet. It should be able to return some of that information from our knowledge base. And at this point, this sorry about that. At this point, these links here that you're going to see are seated on our SharePoint page. So if I clicked in one of them, depending on what I would like to check on the intranet, then I can be able to see this information there. I think that's the end of my presentation. I'll hand it over back to Leila. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz. I think we're going over to Ahmed for a quick call to action and then questions. Ahmed?
Sure. Thank you, Leila. So basically, like, we have a call to action to the participant in this call and those who will be watching the recording. So you have seen our chatbots, you have seen our experiment, what we could made in Africa. Basically, our call for action is we created templates from the two bots which you have seen. And basically those templates, they are going to be made available with documents. They're going to be posted in the webinar page. So you would feel free to pick those templates, adapt them to the needs of your organizations, and continue building on top of the work that we started on our site. There are various experts in the NetHope community. What we would like to call for is share your expertise. Let us build content libraries as much as possible, particularly for the Mama Africa chatbot you have seen. It's all about the content. It's all about experts who would put in, chip in, bring in whatsoever they could contribute, and then the library is going to continuously grow and grow on that side. And then the last is, give it a try in your organizations. Same time last year, I mean, AI for us and the bots, they were kind of science fiction. We were just like, yeah, it's there, but we're not sure if we are ready for using that in our organizations the way that we have done it. So I would say, and I would actually encourage you, I mean, like, give it a try, do a check. Is it suitable for organization? If it's suitable, it's not that complicated as it sounds. You can give it a try. And this is here where we actually, myself, Liz, and our two colleagues, Doreen from VSO, Mazen from SIS, who have been part of this conversation all over. We would be happy every now and then that we had a minute to share and exchange with you our experience.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Elizabeth. If we go to the next slide, we will go into the Q&A. So just a couple of things to note here, because there were some questions that I can quickly answer here. So we're talking about a no-code tool that is made available by Microsoft. And the two bots are using slightly different capabilities, as you saw in the demonstrations, and also as highlighted by Elizabeth. The tech support chatbot is leveraging some of the additional capabilities and integrations, for example, with Jira. And Liz can talk a bit more about that. The second thing, the group that built these chatbots had no previous experience with Microsoft Power Virtual Agents. So through this engagement process, they actually learned both how to build a chatbot and how to use this specific tool. And they will be sharing some of that knowledge at the Africa conference that this group is organizing in July. Now with that, what I'll do is I'll select a few questions from kind of wonderful list that you've shared in the chat window. And then in the thank you email, you will have access to some of the additional resources. And Seth has already shared with you the link to where we've posted the zipped files, the templates for the chatbots, that if you're, for example, interested in developing your own tech support chatbot, you can actually import the template that Christian Aid has developed into Power Virtual Agents and get started with adapting that chatbot. Next week, we will also make available how to get started documents that Mazen and Elizabeth are developing that will include the instructions around how to import the templates, and also what will be valuable for you, it will include also the detailed user journeys, so you know what aspects of their templates to adapt for your needs. Hopefully this answers some of these general questions. All right, Ahmed, I'm going to start with you to give Liz a chance to get a sip of water, maybe. So if you can just clarify specifically what channels you're using for this bot, And then I'll also add another question here. How many touch points with a chatbot do you expect per year? And if you can really talk a bit more about who are the users for the Mama Africa or knowledge sharing chatbot?
Sure. So in terms of the channel, I mean, as Liz have already demonstrated, I mean, with PVA, there are various ways of doing this. I mean, I have shown the web part, and then Liz, she have shown the integration with Teams. I mean, for now, we are planning the web, and little by little, we will move to Teams. I mean, we are having kind of the window from beginning of July until end of the year to build our learnings. So basically, the learning will be about many things, about what is the best channel to use, where do we have the highest hits, in terms of the content. Is it, do we have enough content? Are the members, organizations in Africa engaged enough? So I've seen various questions which are asking us questions that we'll be able to answer to at least in the next 6 months when we have built our understanding, and then we come up with concrete proposal on that.
Okay, great. And just to also clarify, Ahmed, the main target audience for this chatbot are IT and ICT for the staff members at NetHope member organizations in Africa specifically. So that's
exactly. Yeah, so regional office, country office, field operations. I mean, these are particularly that our IT guys and ladies who are working in the different locations of our offices.
Wonderful. I'm going to turn over to Liz to just talk about really how this chatbot, it's an excellent question, how this chatbot fits into your customer service model. Is it replacing or duplicating your current service provision? If it's duplicating, how do you motivate users to go to the bot rather than using traditional channels to get help and support?
Thank you, Leila. I wouldn't say it is duplicating, but rather maybe complementing. I think I mentioned right now we have various ways that people are logging in ticket, and some would call, some would go to WhatsApp, some would send an email, but the bot will add into that list. But as we continue to add the bot into the list and we enhance adoption, we hope that the bot can be able to take a certain percentage, which is 40% of our service ticket as we begin. And hopefully, as we continuously increase the content and the knowledge base, then we shall have moved from maybe 40% of our users using the chatbot to a higher number of users being able to use the chatbot. So it's really not replacing what, and maybe we may not have the chatbot as the only way, but we shall have all the other channels that we receive support, or rather our users are able to access support, but the bot is an added value to the whole support model. And having the content in one place, that is the knowledge base in the one place, if all users can come to the bot and they are able to get all their support in there, then it means maybe it may become a popular tool than even using the email. The next phase of the project is handing over the bot to a human agent. Of course, one of the feedback that has been received is, are we trying to just give bots to be working, and are we removing the human interaction? Of course, that is not the end goal of this, but we hope that once we have the bot in adoption, then we can now be able to hand over. If you are chatting with the bot, then you can be handed over. You can choose whether you want to just log in a ticket or you want to be handed over to a human agent, and that will be queued depending on how our support team are engaged. I think the other question is, it's a no-code tool. Yes, it is a no-code tool, but for the case of the tech support chatbot, there was quite a number of integrations. While we have not had any code at the moment, being to bring this solution up to date, we have had to consult with the app and dev, because as Leila mentioned, we are new into this. I have not done programming before. So there are some of the logistics things that you may need to understand. And I think Pat, as we share the how to document, there's a very basic logic that is required for you to be able to, but there hasn't been any coding required into this. Yes, we have sought support from our app and dev, but there hasn't been any code at all into the bot.
Great, thank you so much, Elizabeth. There's a question that just came in that I'm just going to quickly answer about the pricing model, and want to make sure to connect you also to the right people at Microsoft to have a further conversation. So the PVA, the Power Virtual Agents, the cost is actually calculated at per conversation base, and there is also a nonprofit pricing related to that. So if you are interested in more about Power Virtual Agents beyond what you find on the website, feel free to contact me and I can put you in touch with the right people at Microsoft if you're considering using Power Virtual Agents. With that, I do want to get to a couple more questions before we wrap up. So the next question, actually, both of you can, if you can quickly comment on this, because there's been a lot of interest in really driving usage and understanding some of the tactics that you're implementing in terms of driving the adoption of any new tools that might be, as you said, augmenting capacity or making information available 24/7. So if you can quickly comment on what you're implementing initially in terms of driving awareness and usage and further adoption of your chatbots. Elizabeth, why don't we start with you, as you have an interesting program related to laptop refresh, I believe.
Yes. So one of the ways has been the use of the digital champions, who are the tech savvy as part of our persona, who have already have a good uptake of the bot, and we hope those are the ones that are going to help in preaching, or rather communicating the use and the benefit of having the chatbot. But also, as we have our laptop refresh, one of the things that we hope to do is to ensure that one of the business process, and in this case, what we have automated within the system is laptop request. So which means then we can have, if you need to request a laptop, the only way you can be able to request a laptop is through the bot. So that way, we're ensuring that at least people are interacting with the bot. And if they find that useful, then it means they can be able to adopt the bot in anything else.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And Ahmed, if you can quickly talk about adoption across multiple NGOs.
Yeah, so I mean, it's different efforts and techniques, I would say. So the promotion from one side, as we said, we're going to announce this in our next conference in a couple of weeks. Then from there, we are training the users about how to do similar projects. We have created this gamification dashboard, and then we have regular meetings in Africa chapter. I mean, we call them Africa Talks that Liz have started. And then basically since the last year, we are meeting every second month, discussing about the topic as the NetHope Africa community. So those are the channels which we are going to target. Beside that, we have, let's say, a list of the champions also. So we know those which we would knock hard on their doors and say, contribute, 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 in a way of encouraging other peoples to come on that side. But the game changer for us is this dashboard, because this is here where we're going to kind of instigate the organizations to contribute further when they see SOS have given this contribution, Christian Aid gave that, VSO done that. That would be kind of a positive motivation for everyone to bring in their experience on the bot. Over.
Ahmed, while we still have you, if you can just also clarify the approach to languages. Right now, the bot is available in English. Do you have any plans for making it available in any other languages?
We are doing our best to connect our colleagues in West Africa. I mean, to bring content in French. I mean, I've seen a question about local language. I'm not sure how local the language which we talk about at this stage. Are we really talking about a local language or kind of a local international language? For now, I mean, the plan is in English. As soon as we recruit more French speakers, Portuguese speakers in the Africa group, then we will look into contributing content or translating existing content so that it supports multiple languages.
Thank you. And Liz, one final question for you, just a quick one. Have you implemented password reset or password unlock using the chatbot? or planning to?
Not at the moment, but as we have interacted with the Power Automate, one of the key asks that was among the list of the things that we wanted to automate was the password reset, onboarding users into the system. I think those were some of the key things that we had already started, but we needed to fragment this in chewable chunks so that we can be able to deliver the project. So it's not yet done right now, but we hope that would be coming in the next phase of the project. And yes, it is possible to be able to do that using the Power Automate and call that into the bot.
Excellent. Thank you very much. With that, I'm just going to wrap up. First of all, special thanks to our presenters, Elizabeth and Ahmed, and also thanks to Doreen and Mazen, the key members of the team, and Michael from Microsoft for this collaboration. And with that, I'll hand it over to Madeline to wrap up.
Thanks, Leila, and thanks to all of our attendees for joining us today. Your interaction has been awesome, great questions, and we'll hopefully follow up with all the information that you need. Please take a moment to complete the webinar satisfaction poll and give us your feedback. The link is in the chat window, and a window will open as you close the Zoom webinar. You'll also receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording and other collateral, so please look for that later today or early tomorrow. And with that, thank you so much again for attending, and have a great rest of your day.